night's rest, and you shudder just to face another night. But in your darkest hour, you can rest assured He knows what is best, and everything will be alright. He already knows, just keep believing. He's already been there, and He'll make a way. He already knows, and He's interceding before we even start to pray. He already knows. I will never leave you or forsake you. Just keep holding on to what He said. He is watching over you in ways you can't imagine. Always one step ahead. He already knows. Just keep believing. He's already been there, and He'll make a way. He already knows, and He's interceding before we even start to pray. He already knows, before we even start to pray. He already knows.
Welcome to another edition of the Chuck Bryant Show. So glad I could be here with you today. We got two streams going on. We're going a little bit of light in the background. We'll be working on that a little bit in the next couple of days. This is actually the first broadcast that I've done in a while, and I am nervous as I'll get out. Plus, I've got a shoulder injury that's been giving me some havoc here lately. So just bear with me as I get through this. Thank you so much for attending. We're working on the WOTG radio network feed as we go. So we're going to bring you some great stuff here, and I'm going to let the next group take over. This is Chuck Bryant from the WOTG Radio Network.
I want to know that He will welcome me there. I do not want to be denied. Oh, let me live in that city so fair, and that's enough for me to know. I want to know that my Jesus will welcome me there. I do not want to be denied. Oh, let me live in that city so fair, and that's enough for me to know. I do not know today my Savior will come. I must be, Lord, prepared to go. If on earth I know He will call me, oh Lord, that's enough for me to know. I want to know that my Jesus will welcome me there. I do not want to be denied. Oh, let me live in that city so fair, and that's enough for me to know. I want to know that He will welcome me there. I do not want to be denied. Let me live in that city so fair. That's enough for me to know.
My prayer has always been, God, use me, not just in church, but everywhere I go, to restaurants or malls, wherever I go, God, use me. That has been my prayer. We're in Dayton, Ohio. We're walking down the mall there, and here comes a guy in his business suit, and God spoke to me he said, go and hug that man. It scared me a little bit. And I thought, it's just a difficult thing to do in today's time. But I only had two options, either follow God or not follow God. So, of course, I said, God, I am going to do this because I know you've told me to do it. And I'm trusting that you're going to give me strength for running from that man when he goes to beat me up, because he will. Well, I walked up to this guy I'd never met, and I grabbed him and hugged him, and I said, hey there, how are you? He said, I'm doing okay. Do I know you? I let go of him, and I said, probably not. I said, the weirdest thing just happened. As we were walking down the mall, here God spoke to me to just come and hug you. I had no idea what his response would be. But he dropped his head and stood there for just a couple seconds or so. He raised his head and he said, my dad died 2 years ago today. He said, I never dealt with all the emotions that go with losing a parent. But today, for some reason, all of those emotions just flooded in me. He said, thank you for letting God use you. I was truly blown away, amazed at who God still is. Day by day, who he still is. Every moment he has his focus on us and our needs. That's amazing.
Hi, this is James Marvell, and you're listening to my song on this great station, the official theme song of the ICGMA, Only Christian Country.
I was young, I'd ride those country roads, rock and rollin' with the radio. I was wild and free, that's all I'd ever be. Now there's only Christian country for me. When you're young, rock and roll's for you. When you're sad, you only want the blues. When you get a little older, rock and roll will move right over. Only Christian country, only Christian country, only Christian country will do. Looking back, I see rock was part of growing up. One day I finally had enough. I slowly turned the dial, I listened for a while. Now only Christian country suits my style. When you're young, rock and roll's for you. When you're sad, you only want the blues. When you get a little older, rock and roll will move right over. Only Christian country, only Christian country, only Christian country will do. Now I know why Daddy listened to the Oak Ridge Boys. Mama turned the TV on, that old Glenn Campbell show. We grew up with Johnny Cash, Kitty Wells, and friends. The Statler brothers held my dad's attention even then. When you're young, rock and roll's for you. When you're sad, you only want the blues. When you get a little older, rock and roll will move right over. And only Christian country, only Christian country, only Christian country will do. When you're young, rock and roll's for you. When you're sad, you only want the blues. When you get a little older, rock and roll will move over. And only Christian country, only Christian country, only Christian country will do.
And that was my good friend, Mr. James Marvell. Me and James will be doing a program here later on this week. It's so glad that each and every one of y'all could tune in with us this afternoon. as we're getting ready for the Chuck show, the Chuck Bryant show with friends. And as we're getting ready to kick it off, I'm so glad that y'all decided to pop in with us and stick around with us for a while. We'll be bringing in some of the best in Christian country and Southern gospel. You got Randy and Amy Nichols of Appointed 2, and we've got the Gospel Cousins coming up, and so many more. So stay tuned. Right now, it's Miss Lizzie G.
And I think if they could just talk to you one more time, maybe they might say.
Well, this is the Emmaus Road Quartet. Sorry about that.
Well, we didn't understand why we went through such pain. We were stuck in that valley for a many long days. We held true to God's word when it seemed our prayers were not heard. When we called His name, oh, today I realize the teardrops we cried were never in vain. Listen, I got my healing today. I've been touched by the Master's hand, and I won't ever feel that pain again. No more tears will I ever shed, and now I'm walking on streets of gold. I'll live forever in my brand new home. Oh, don't wait for me, for soon you will see I got my healing today. Well, I know it can be easy when it seems your whole life is gone and left you alone. Just stay true to God's word. Soon you will see that His promise is true, and you will sing this song with me. I got my healing today. I've been touched by the Master's hand, and I won't ever feel that pain again. No more tears will I ever shed, and now I'm walking on streets of gold, and I'll live forever in my brand new home. Oh, don't wait for me, for soon you will see I got my healing today. I got my healing today. Oh, do you believe God's promise? I've been touched by the Master's hand, and I won't ever feel that pain again. No more tears will I ever shed, and now I'm walking on streets of gold, and I'll live forever in my brand new home. Oh, don't wait for me, for soon you will see I got my healing today. And now I'm walking on streets of gold, and I'll live forever in my brand new home. Oh, don't wait for me, for soon you will see I got my healing today.
Oh my goodness, it's good to feel the Lord, isn't it? My little boy is 8 years old, and we were having dinner that night at home, and we're old-fashioned. We like to still sit around the table and eat and talk about our day. That's old-fashioned nowadays. And but my kids love it. They love it because they usually get to talk about their day, and we get to talk about ours. And my little boy came to me and he said, "Daddy, I can't wait to tell you what happened at school today." And usually when he says that, it's usually something that is off the wall. I mean, but last year, we were singing in North Carolina, and I got a phone call about 2 o'clock. And it was my little boy on the other end, and he said, "Daddy, I got to tell you something." He said, "The Lord saved me today." And I was so excited about that, and I knew it was coming. The Lord had showed me that it was coming. It's amazing how the Lord will show you those things, but I knew that it was coming. I knew it was getting time. And so 3 weeks ago, we were sitting at our table, and my little boy has a love for the Lord like I have never seen. At 8 years old, I mean, I've never in my life. And he said, "Daddy, I'll tell you," he said, "my heart has been really heavy for 2 of my friends at school." Now, he's a 3rd grader at school, and I had no idea, his mother or I, either one, had no idea that he was worried about these 2 friends of his at school. But he worries and he prays. We'll find him in his room lots of times, calling out to the name of the Lord. Just on his own. I mean, we don't have to tell him. But he'll just go into his room and he'll begin to pray. That does something to your heart. To hear your 8-year-old child lifting your name out to the Lord in prayer. But we were sitting around the table, and he said, "Daddy," he said, "my heart was so heavy." He said, "I didn't know what to do." He said, "So when it came time for us to go out to the playground," he said, "I just took them both over beside the monkey bars." He said, "And I just looked at both of them right dead in the eye." He said, "And I said, I got to know something. Do you know who Jesus is?" And I said, "Really?" He was worried about their soul. He's only 8. I said, "Well, what did they say to you?" He said, "Well, both of them just kind of looked at me and said, 'No, I don't have a clue who you're talking about.'" And he said, "Daddy, I felt so bad. I felt so bad." He said, "I thought everybody went to church." I said, "No, son, everybody don't go to church." I said, "But we need to pray for them." He said, "Well, here's what I done, Daddy." He said, "I didn't just let it go at that." He said, "Here's what I done." He said, "I took one of them by this hand, and I took one of them by this hand, and I made them hold hands." He said, "And I said, we're going to pray right now." He said, "Because you can be saved anywhere you're at." And they had prayer on the playground at school. And I said, "Well, when the prayer was over, did they say anything? Did they?" He said, "Well, I asked them and told them if they wanted to go to church, that there was all kind of churches that have vans and buses that'll come by and pick them up, that all they have to do is call, and they'll come by and get them. If their mom and daddy won't take them to church, they'll come by and get them and take them back home." And I said, "Boy, that's amazing."
That's Amazing Road Quartet. We're going to go ahead.
He said, "Did I do good,
to
Daddy?"
a song. Pointed
I said,
to.
"You sure did."
He took me in.
Pain on his face that brought me to the foot of the cross. A lasting impression. There came forth confession from an old boy whose soul was lost. I was destined for death when he heard my request, and the blood was applied to my sins. I cast all my cares with one simple prayer. Jesus, He took me in. He took me in. Nobody else would even look my way. He took me in. And all I had to do was humble down. The process of love came from above and carried me from where I'd been hope, just trying to cope with not really ever gaining ground. Well, my friend, let me say that I know a way from the bottom to the top you can win. God has a plan, He's extended His hands. Jesus, He'll take you in, 'cause He took me in. Nobody else would even look my way. He took me in. All I had to do was humble down to breathe. The process of love came from above and carried me from where I've been. Now that I'm whole, I want you to know Jesus, He took me in. Now that I'm whole, I want the whole world to know Jesus, He took me in. He took me
Let me go ahead and replay that song, because I had a couple of people that had hit me with it about the testimony of that little guy. And Emmaus Row Quartet on that last one that we've just played. Here it is again, and I'll let it finish up.
And I think if they could just talk to you one more time, maybe they might say something a little bit like this. Well, we didn't understand why we went through such pain. We were stuck in that valley for a many long days. We held true to God's word when it seemed our prayers were not heard. When we called His name, oh, today I realize the teardrops we cried were never in vain. Listen, I got my healing today. I've been touched by the Master's hand, and I won't ever feel that pain again. No more tears will I ever shed. And now I'm walking on streets of gold. I'll live forever in my brand new home. Oh, don't wait for me, for soon you will see I got my healing today. Oh, well, I know it can be easy when it seems your whole life is gone and left you alone. Just stay true to God's word. Soon you will see that His promise is true, and you will sing this song with me. I got my healing today. I've been touched by the Master's hand, and I won't ever feel that pain again. No more tears will I ever shed. And now I'm walking on streets of gold, and I'll live forever in my brand new home. Oh, don't wait for me, for soon you will see I got my healing today. I got my healing today. Oh, do you believe God's promise? I've been touched by the Master's hand, and I won't ever feel that pain again. No more tears will I ever shed. And now I'm walking on streets of gold. for certain you'll see I got my healing today.
Oh my goodness, it's good to feel the Lord, isn't it? My little boy is 8 years old, and we were having dinner that night at home, and we're old-fashioned. We like to still sit around the table and eat and talk about our day. That's old-fashioned nowadays. And but my kids love it. They love it because they usually get to talk about their day, and we get to talk about ours. And my little boy came to me and he said, "Daddy, I can't wait to tell you what happened at school today." And usually when he says that, it's usually something that is off the wall. I mean, but last year we were singing in North Carolina, and I got a phone call about 2 o'clock. And it was my little boy on the other end, and he said, "Daddy, I got to tell you something." He said, "The Lord saved me today." And I was so excited about that, and I knew it was coming. The Lord had showed me that it was coming. It's amazing how the Lord will show you those things, but I knew that it was coming. I knew it was getting time. And so 3 weeks ago, we were sitting at our table, and my little boy has a love for the Lord like I have never seen. At 8 years old, I mean, I've never in my life. And he said, "Daddy, I'll tell you," he said, my heart has been really heavy for two of my friends at school. Now, he's a third grader at school, and I had no idea, his mother or I, either one, had no idea that he was worried about these two friends of his at school. But he worries and he prays. We'll find him in his room lots of times, calling out to the name of the Lord. Just on his own. I mean, we don't have to tell him. But he'll just go into his room and he'll begin to pray. That does something to your heart. To hear your 8-year-old child lifting your name out to the Lord in prayer. But we were sitting around the table, and he said, "Daddy," he said, "my heart was so heavy." He said, "I didn't know what to do." He said, "So when it came time for us to go out to the playground," he said, "I just took them both over beside the monkey bars." He said, "And I just looked at both of them right dead in the eye." He said, "And I said, I got to know something. Do you know who Jesus is?" And I said, "Really?" He was worried about their soul. He's only 8. I said, "Well, what did they say to you?" He said, "Well, both of them just kind of looked at me and said, 'No, I don't have a clue who you're talking about.'" And he said, "Daddy, I felt so bad. I felt so bad." He said, "I thought everybody went to church." I said, "No, son, everybody don't go to church." I said, "But we need to pray for them." He said, "Well, here's what I done, Daddy." He said, "I didn't just let it go at that." He said, "Here's what I done." He said, "I took one of them by this hand, and I took one of them by this hand, and I made them hold hands." He said, "And I said, we're going to pray right now." He said, "Because you can be saved anywhere you're at." And they had prayer on the playground at school. And I said, "Well, when the prayer was over, did they say anything? Did they?" He said, "Well, I asked them and told them if they wanted to go to church, that there was all kind of churches that have vans and buses that'll come by and pick them up, that all they have to do is call, and they'll come by and get them. If their mom and daddy won't take them to church, they'll come by and get them and take them back home." And I said, "Boy, that's amazing." He said, "Did I do good, Daddy?" I said, "You sure did." He's not ashamed, and I hope he never is. Now, those two little boys, I don't believe, received salvation that day. They might have, I don't know. He didn't know. But I believe that one day, as they're walking through their life, that they'll look back on the 3rd grade and they'll remember having prayer on the playground with that little boy who just loved the Lord. I looked over at my wife that evening, and I said, "Honey," I said, we might get a phone call. I said, and if we do, it'll be okay. I serve on the Board of Education where I live. I was elected 4 years ago, and I said, I can see the headlines next week. Board member's son has prayer meeting on the playground. But would it not be wonderful that turned into a revival? I know I'm taking up a lot of time this morning, but the Spirit is so good in here, I don't want to leave. I don't want to leave. Don't worry about the food. There's people over there stirring the pots. It ain't going to burn. It won't burn. But I believe there's still people in here today that are needing a touch from the Lord. And I believe today that those little boys might have felt something they'd never felt that day on the playground. And you know, I look at my life and I don't know if I was in that same environment that I would do the same thing that he did. I have no idea. I can do it now. School is so hard for kids these days. It is so hard. I would do it now. I would share the love of the Lord with anybody now. But at that age, I don't know that I would have. I said, honey, I don't want him to be made fun of at school. She said, Robbie. My wife said, Robbie. She said, how great is it that we suffer for the cause of Christ? We're going to be made fun of and talked about along the way, especially if you're as charismatic as I am. But I don't care anymore. For a long time, I would come in and sit on the pew, and I would sit on my hands to keep from lifting them up, because I was afraid of what people would say about me. I didn't want anybody to laugh at me. I didn't want anybody to think that I was an old holy roller. Can you imagine what Moses would have done if the Lord would have said, take off your shoes, you're standing on holy ground? If he had looked around and said, Lord, I can't do that. Somebody might see my toes. What did Moses do? I believe he kicked his feet so hard he didn't have to bend over and loosen them. I believe they just come off. I don't care anymore. I'm not on this journey for anybody in this room but myself. And my relationship with Jesus Christ cannot suffer because of what you might think about me. And when you get in that mindset, some of you are in that mindset today, but some of you aren't. Some of you are looking at me like a mule looking at a new gate. But when you get in the mindset that you just don't care anymore about what people are going to think about you, you're going to serve the Lord anyway. My. We may need to have revival here this week. I don't know. That'd be awesome. I know that we're going long, and I just want to tell you today that God is here. And you know, I said a while ago that my mom and dad have already gone to the grave, and that was so hard on me, and I may have to go. I don't know. I don't know what this world holds for me. I have no idea. I'd like to see him coming in the clouds, though. I'd like to be standing somewhere and see the clouds roll back and him just come forth. And I believe that's going to happen. That's going to happen. I mean, that sky's going to split wide open and those clouds are going to form and he's going to be standing on them. That's going to happen. I don't know. I may have to go to the grave, though. May have to wait it out. But if I do, rest assured of one thing. That's not the end of this boy right here. That is not the end. The grave can't hold me.
Well, that was a broadcast of a live broadcast several years ago with Appointed To. And Greg Witt is a very good friend of WOTG, and the family, I've known the family for years. We go almost 20 years, and every time I hear that testimony, and I'm sorry that I cut it so short. I didn't know y'all wanted to hear it. I apologize, but we'll do more of those. I've got some great testimonies from Jonathan Bond and some other great gospel groups. You know, this is what makes gospel radio work the way it does, is it the testimonials that are out there. Jonathan Bond's got a great testimonial. I was on the phone with Jonathan. Jonathan's going to be coming on the show sometime in March, and we're going to have some ministers and everything else that is going to be coming on the broadcast. I'm just so glad that we have a God that no matter how busy we may be, that we can call upon him, mention his name, and he is there. I love to know that my Father is always with me anytime that I need him. Let's do a little second generation. Miss Brenda Denny did her first solo career yesterday, and I hear that it went off without any problems. I'm so glad for Brenda that she has stepped out in faith and now is taking over where second generation has retired, and she's carrying on her ministry. Next up, second generation, Everyday Jesus.
When I'm up on the mountain, I can still see the valley, and it serves as a reminder of every battle I've never won. Half the time I take a stand, it seems I end up falling. So I thank Lord that this life is more about what you've already done. Every day, Jesus, I wake up in your grace. Every day, Jesus, you're the one who keeps the faith. I give you all my heart, gonna try real hard, and I pledge to you allegiance. But one day a weak religion won't work for me. I need an everyday Jesus. Well, I think it's so amazing that you can really use me, 'cause I know you know me better than I could ever know myself. Lord, I keep seeing shadows from the past that keeps returning, but the shadows prove there's a lot of truth, my darkness to dispel. Oh, Lord, every day, Jesus, I wake up in your grace. Every day, Jesus, you're the one who keeps the faith. I give you all my heart, gonna try real hard, and I pledge to you allegiance. But one day a weak religion won't work for me. I need an everyday Jesus. When I give you my word, you know my every secret. But when you give me your word, you got the power, Lord, to keep it. Oh, Lord, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. Every day, Jesus, I wake up in your grace. Every day, Jesus, you're the one who keeps the faith. I give you all my heart, gonna try real hard, and I pledge to you allegiance. But one day a weak religion won't work for me. I need an everyday Jesus. Oh, yeah, Lord, I need you every day. Yeah.
Everyday Jesus, I have pointed to. How many of y'all need Jesus every day? I'm going to tell you right now, in my life, I need him every day, especially with this, the way this shoulder's been hurting and everything else. Took a fall back in December off of the back of a U-Haul truck, and it was already hurting, but not like it hurt, and it hurts worse than any toothache I've ever had. But next up, we're going to do a little favorite here that I that I like so much. This is going to go out to Amy Freeman. She's all the way out there in up in Orlando for a couple of days. I just got done talking with Pastor Randy from Appointed To, and this one's going out to my good friend Miss Amy Nichols and Appointed To. A little secret welcome. You're on the WOTG Radio Network.
3 a.m. She's wide awake. Her spirit's troubled. She begins to pace, covering loved ones in a blanket of prayer, binding up the devil, revealing his snares. God's got a secret weapon in his arsenal, powerful and pink, pretty and weak. Don't be deceived by what your eyes see. This weapon, whoa, is a woman. Down on her knees in her secret place, praying for souls lost and disgraced. Don't be surprised should you hear your name called. She's pleading the blood, intercession for all. God's got a secret weapon in his arsenal, powerful and pink, pretty and weak. Don't be deceived by what your eyes see. This weapon, whoa, is a woman. She knows the word, she knows warfare. She's got her armor on, she's well prepared. She's leading the charge with her sword in hand, her shield in place, now she's taking a stand. God's got a secret weapon in his arsenal, powerful and pink, pretty and weak. Don't be deceived by what your eyes see. This weapon, whoa, is a woman. It's a woman. It's a woman.
And that was our good friend Miss Amy Nichols and Randy Nichols from Appointed To on Monday. Tomorrow we're going to have 2 for 2 on 2 for 2 Tuesday, like some of the other groups are doing. And this is New Covenant and God's Got a Plan.
I've had enough. Losing my way, the sea gets rocky and rough. I've got to trust him when the waves are swamping my boat. Look to him for rescue, direction and hope. God's got a plan, just wait and see. I've gotta do what he says and follow where he leads. I've got to walk the walk and not just talk the talk, so that I can have all that he has for me. God's got a plan for you. Now on a very good day, it's easy for me to forget. Jesus is the reason all my needs are met. I start to sing when I think I'm in control. I can walk on the water if I keep my eyes on the goal. God's got a plan, just wait and see. I've gotta do what he says
covenant. God's got a new plan. Next up is the Gospel Cousins. If you missed the presentation that Brother Jack had over on KOTG yesterday, you missed such a blessing. The group, the Gospel Cousins, were over there singing at Pastor Jack's church yesterday, and I kind of sent over a request, and I was very surprised that they got it. But this is called The Bloodline by the Gospel Cousins, coming all the way from Oklahoma. The Bloodline.
Even though my spirit's low and it seems I can hardly go, but still I see victory. Many times I'm walking by faith, I can't see what lies before me, but still I see victory. I just gotta tell you, Satan, you can't cross the bloodline, because I'm covered by his blood. You may stare and you may fight, but you're gonna lose this battle tonight. 'Cause remember, you can't cross the bloodline. Sometimes our battles get hard, and it seems we're fighting a lot. Oh, I remember I'm standing on the rock. So, Satan, if I were you, I'd turn around and give up too, 'cause I do believe you're going to lose. I just gotta tell you, Satan, you can't cross the bloodline, because I'm covered by his blood. You may stare and you may fight, but you're gonna lose this battle tonight. 'Cause remember, you can't cross the bloodline. You may stare and you may fight, but you're gonna lose this battle tonight. 'Cause remember, you can't cross the bloodline. You must remember, you can't cross the bloodline.
And that was the Gospel Cousins coming all the way out of Oklahoma. Pastor Jack had him over at his church yesterday, and you were talking about such a blessing. Everybody was getting anointed by the Lord, and I tell you right now, what a great group they are. We'll be having them here pretty soon on an interview, and we'll be talking about their ministry and stuff like that. If you're a ministry and you want to get on the Chuck Bryant show here with Chuck Bryant and friends, just send me an email over at WOTG, and starting tomorrow we'll have our phone number and stuff, and I'll give it out to you. You are listening to the WOTG Radio Network, and this is Chuck Bryant, your host, here for a couple more minutes. And I had a request for 11th hour. I will get that on tomorrow. I had a few other songs already in place. Next up is Beth McCann and 24 hours a day. You know, it's great that we don't have to go and deposit our salvation. We don't have to write a check for our salvation. That price has already been paid. 24 hours a day. It's not a drive-through. It's not a whatever you can call it on a hotline. All you got to do is go to Calvary, and he's there. Thank God for Jesus. Amen. Hallelujah. Here on the Chuck Bryant Show.
Kroger that's open till 1. Burger King's open till 2. You can dunk your donuts any time of the night if you have a hankering to. Ronald sells fries to 3 a.m. on the corner of 4th and Main. When you're feeling kinda low, you need some food for your soul. God's open 24 hours a day. 24 hours a day, He loves you. 24 hours a day. 24 hours a day, He's with you, guiding you along the way. Now it doesn't matter where you are, He's never far away. Jesus Christ, He's my guiding light. He's open 24 hours a day. Now the Colonel does it fine if you get there by 9. After that it's hunger pains for you. Krispy Kreme can make you well about as good as Dr. Phil, but when they're gone you're back to feeling blue. Ponderosa Cruiser Blues, but they close before I'm through. What will take away my pain? When I'm feeling kinda low, I need some food for my soul. God's open 24 hours a day. 24 hours a day, He loves you. 24 hours a day. 24 hours a day, He's with you, guiding you along the way. Now it doesn't matter where you are, He's never far away. Jesus Christ, He's my guiding light. He's open 24 hours a day. Jesus Christ, He's my guiding light. He's open 24 hours a day. He doesn't even need a drive-up window.
You see what I was talking about? Don't need a drive-up window. All we got to do. Well, this next song is Karen Peck and New Revival, and they're going to be in Chattanooga with the McCameys on their last ride. That's right, the McCameys going to be retiring this year, and they on their final tour. Catch them near a city near you. Coming up on February the 9th in Chattanooga. They are going to be in the Chattanooga Arena for the last time. Next up is Karen Peck and New Revival. Here on the WOTG Radio Network.
Folks are coming from far and wide. Old camp meeting on the county line. 101, yeah, it feels like revival. Redback hymnals, folding chairs, canvas tin in the open air, sawdust floor and a Holy Ghost prayer. Revival. Preachers preaching all day long. Sing another stanza of that hallelujah song. We're gonna shout the glory down, join in that heavenly sound, toe tapping, hand clapping, revival. We're gonna sing and testify, hands lifted up to the sky, faith stir and shake the earth, revival. Let's head on down to the riverside, muddy water and robes of white. One more sinner gonna be baptized, revival. Old things are passed away. Go down a sinner, come up a saint. We're gonna shout the glory down, join in that heavenly sound, toe tapping, hand clapping, revival. We're gonna sing and testify, hands lifted up to the sky, faith stir and shake the earth, revival. same. The names and the place and the faces change, but one thing remains the same.
Shaking revivals going all the way across America. Let it be happen, let it be known in Jesus' name. It's going to be done. Every church shall know that the revival is coming. That's right. One day that trumpet's going to sound on that cloud, and all things have changed. Revival by Karen Peck and New River. Next up, my good buddy, Mr. Rusty Gilman, and we're out of here. Guys, y'all have a great day. We'll see y'all back again tomorrow on the Chuck Bryant Show and Friends here on the WOTG Radio Network, broadcasting on WOTG and Chattanooga's Gospel. Can you hear that train? It's a-loading up. Woo, woo. We're gone. Y'all have a great day. God bless each and every one.
When I first found Jesus, something o'er me stole. Like lightning it went through me, and glory filled my soul. Salvation made me happy, and took my fears away. And when I meet old Satan, to him I always say, I am determined